Hi guys, welcome back to Chop's Garage. Now those of you that follow the channel regularly will know that I've been trying to build a little bit of a showroom in my new unit. So I've got a workshop unit next door. I'm trying to have this as my showroom unit, and I've been trying to make it into a little bit man cavey with some car signs on it and so forth. And one of the things I brought in was my MGB Roadster from home. Again, if you watch the channel regularly, you know I've got a number of MGBs. I don't know why I particularly like MGBs, but I guess it's something to do with the first flips I was doing from home before I started this full time. So again, if you don't watch the channel regularly, and this is new to you, I've only fairly recently started doing cars full time. Before that I had a corporate job, and a lot of my flipping cars went on in the background at weekends, and I focused quite a lot on MGBs because they were just something I like working on, easy to work on. And there was quite a formula I had for flipping MGBs, which you've got ones which had the same old horrible deck chair interior, big old steering wheel, and the sort of rot that goes around the seams on the front of them. But other than that, a sound car. Get it in, swap it to a vinyl interior, swap it to a nice wooden steering wheel with chrome on it, fix those little bits of paint with a rattle can. Those again, watch the channel regularly know that I'm quite handy with the rattle can, and then make quite good margins on them. And I did a lot of that in the background, and it's from that comes the story of the worst deal I ever did. One that basically had me get ripped off and go to court a couple of times off the back of it, and still be down now to this day. So it's quite a funny story. I can laugh about it now, I guess, a bit, but if we're going to tell a story, then I should probably get a nice chair to have a sit in. So those of you again that watch the channel quite regularly will have noticed this box kicking around in the background for a while. I did mention it in another video, and this is from the lovely guys at Valencia. They sent me out an Oslo dark chocolate armchair. They have these basically cinema chairs for your man caves. They've been watching the channel and said, you deserve a little sit down with your graft. So I thought, to tell this story, we'll finally get this unboxed, and then I'll have somewhere comfy to tell you it. Excuse the box, it did end up having stuff resting on it quite a lot. I can't believe I've been well behaved enough to leave it boxed for this long a period of time. But as I said before, this is something that perhaps if any of you pop by and see me, you'll be able to have a little sit in. There we go, I've been waiting to see what this looks like. Wow. That looks nice. Look at that stitching. How far this looks nice. So just these two wires to connect to the back and then plug it in and we're away. Wow, that is one nice looking chair. That is beautiful. So just got to whip around the back and wire it in because it is fully electric. So we've got the chair all plugged in now. Lovely blue lights in the cup holders and underneath the feet there. And then you've got these little cubby holes either side on gas struts. All quilted and stitched. Beautiful chair, to be fair, absolutely beautiful. And then here you can turn the lighting on and off. And then you've got the headrest, adjustment in the headrest. You've got adjustment in the lumbar support that comes right the way out. And obviously, of course, you can do the full recline as well. Yeah, fantastic quality, really is. So thanks massively to Valencia for sending that to me. It's a beautiful chair. Hopefully I don't spend too much time in it when I should be working. So I'll put a link down below if you guys fancy one of these. About time some of you treated yourself, I would have thought, for all your hard work. So our mate Ian,
what's this one do?
the gas guru, I'll put a link to his YouTube channel below, has popped by to see me.
Changed it.
You changed it, what are you now?
The guru bit annoyed everyone. They all thought that I was the best gas engineer in the world.
Are you not?
Just the gas guy. Oh yeah, of course I am. Don't
Right.
tell everyone.
So he's hopped straight in the chair from Valencia.
Test it.
He's testing it out for me
Here we go.
in his grubby clothes.
Oh. Can you get my coffee, please, mate?
Yeah, I'll get your
Do
coffee.
with the newspaper, actually. Got any cigars?
So do you rate it? Or is it... I really rate it.
It is nice. It's proper comfy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The building on it is really nice as well, and all that
You tag
stitching.
my wife.
I will tag your wife.
Ian's birthday on the 24th of March.
Yeah.
You could do with one of these chairs.
And now Adrian's dropped by as well. A&K Van Services does all my deliveries, doesn't he? Got another pickup for me today, haven't I? I haven't shown on the channel yet. That'll be coming up. So what do you reckon to the chair then, Age? You like it as well?
Very posh for you, mate.
Go on and hop on, have a go. You've got the buttons on the side there. I think this is going to be a very popular feature of Chop's Garage.
Hello.
Look at that. All I need to do is get it out. I just need a TV screen up now, don't I? Now, I'm going to message them, ask them, Adrian, if they can do one that lifts you out of it as well. 'Cause I know you're getting on a little now. So for the purpose of this video, just for legal reasons, we're going to call the other person involved Mr. MGB, I think. So, as per the beginning of the video, before I started trading cars full time, I had a corporate job, and in the background I'd flip cars, and most of those used to be MGBs for the reason I said, you know, I had a quite good formula for how I could quickly flip them over, do different bits and bobs on them that increase the value and then sell them on, and plus I liked MGBs. I did a mix of other little classics in between as well, modern classics. So obviously I was spending a lot of time trying to find MGBs at the right price, the right cars at the right price, and one good place for that was Facebook, specifically the MGB club pages on Facebook. So I bought a number of cars off people across the country, and then there was this one time this chap turned up. I was on the page, turned up with this nice teal MGB. I'll try and get a picture up for you in a second. No, tell a lie, sorry, the first car was a nice metallic, strangely, it was a metallic red MGB, rubber bumper. Came up on the Facebook group at a good price. I hadn't seen one that colour before, turned out it had just been painted. So I sent the chap a message, Mr. MGB, sent him a message and said, you know, I was interested in the car. We had a chat back and forth, worked out a deal. He was in London, and I obviously didn't want to travel down to London. I buy cars sight unseen all the time. So, but I didn't know the chap very, very well, so he sent across his ID, and then I sent a driver to go and pick it up. And when the driver got there, I paid in full for the car. It came to me, long story short, the car came to me. It was in good condition. It was as described. It was in pretty good condition. I did my normal bit on it, flipped it, sold it, everything was great. So then I got a message from him a few months later with another MGB. It was a nice teal MGB. Like I say, I'll try and put a picture up of the cars as I'm going along here. So yeah, did a nice teal MGB, and on that one, it was the same deal. You know, this guy turned around, he said to me, he had a body shop. He did cars up, and you know, my driver said the first place he picked up was a body shop, and they were doing other cars there. There was MG midgets there and stuff like that as well. So he said he had a body shop. He often did MGBs, but he'd rather just trade them out quick after doing the work on them, and he'd keep me with a steady supply of them. So he sent me across this teal MGB. Again, sent me lots of pictures. Everything was the same. Drove the car. Sent the driver down there, and I paid for it in advance that time because I now knew him, I knew where he was, I'd seen his ID, everything was good, paid in advance, and you probably would start to know where this is going now. Picked up the teal MGB, brought it back. Again, it was a really good car, really good condition for the money. It was really good. I did my little bit of work on it, and it was another good car. So I made my money and I was happy. So, and he was happy. So again, another few months later, trying to get another message from him saying, I've got another car, and this time, slightly different, should have rung alarm bells. He sent a picture of the car, rather than in the light, it was a picture of it at night, a few pictures in the car park, and I could actually see his sort of family sitting in the car behind, waiting for him while he was taking his pictures of this car in a car park. They weren't particularly good pictures. But obviously now we had a relationship going, we've done a couple of deals already, and he said, so I've got this one coming up, and it was sort of a maroon one. Again, I'll try and put a picture up for you now, another maroon MGB. So he gave me the price, and then we haggled back and forth, agreed the price, no problem at all. So again, booked the driver to go down and pick up the car as per normal. And he said to me, I've got some bills to pay this month. He said, for some of the lads in the garage, if you can make the payment, quickly, that would be appreciated. So I thought, no problem at all. Transferred in the money, 3.5 grand for the car, for the MGB it was, and didn't think anything of it until I get a phone call from the driver. He's gone to pick up the MGB, and he had the contact details for the guy with the MGB, and the guy with the MGB's put him off and says he can't get there, he can't let him have the car, he can't get there. I forget what his excuses were now, but he couldn't basically pick up the car, so the guy had to come back empty-handed, which was a bit alarming. So I messaged the chap and said, look, what's going on? You know, what's going on? Why couldn't my driver pick up the car? I sent him all the way down. He went, oh, really, really sorry. He said, I know you've incurred costs. I'll bring the car up to you. I'll sort it out. I'll bring it up to you in the next couple of days. I've got transport. I'll bring it up. Fine. Okay. Again, didn't think too much of it. A bit annoyed, but didn't think too much of it. But a couple more days passed and I hadn't heard from him. So I chased him up again. He said, oh no, I've just been held up. I'm definitely going to get it to you. A couple more days passed, still nothing. And then it was like getting on for 2 weeks now, getting into the end of the second week. And I said, look, what's going on with this car? I said, you promised that you've promised it was going to be pick up, and you didn't get pick up. You promised to deliver it, you haven't delivered it. Now been a couple of weeks, but I got no reply this time. So I started looking at these pictures again, and I started to look at the pictures he'd sent me. I'd asked for pictures of the engine bay and stuff like that, and I started to look at it and realised that the pictures of the car were in the dark and the picture of the engine bay were in the light. So I don't know what made me do it. I did a quick search on Google, and there, lo and behold, in Google Images were the pictures of the engine bay and other pictures of the car that were already on Google. That obviously clearly just pulled them from there. Now that set some big alarm bells ringing. So I messaged him and asked him, what's the score with this? Can I get more pictures of the car? The pictures you sent me, they seem to be on Google. I'm not sure, what's going on here. Again, I got no response from him. So I went to the bank then, asked the bank to reverse the payment. They tried to, but the funds weren't in the account. So I now messaged him, said, look, something weird's going on here. You've basically scammed me. You've not delivered the cash to me. He said, things haven't worked. So eventually he got back to me. Things haven't worked out. Something's happened. I'll get you the money back. Don't worry. I said, well, I need it by end of play tomorrow. Transfer me the money back. Of course, I didn't get the money, and he stopped communicating with me completely. So what was I going to do? Well, in between this, I go onto the MGB Facebook page, and he's advertising another MGB, and he's also commenting on other people's posts that want to sell MGBs. And I do a little bit of research on Facebook and find that he's selling more cars on Facebook as well, other types of cars, cheap cars. So I messaged him again saying, you've got other cars for sale, you're offering to buy those, you've clearly got the cash, I want my cash back. Didn't get any response. So at this point, guys, normally what people say is, well, I'd get in a car, go down and track him down and find out what's going on with it. To be honest, my corporate job, that would cost me a lot of money to go down and see him. I know 3.5 grand's a lot of money, but it would cost me a lot of money to go down and see him. And I didn't have any confidence that I'd actually get any result I wanted. It could have been a totally wasted journey. So I did what I've had to do on a couple of occasions before in different things. And straight away I went on and I put a county court application in for the money for the car to the addresses that I had on file. So that goes through the process. He doesn't come to court, doesn't defend it. It's obviously found in my favour, and it goes to the bailiffs, the county court bailiffs. So I thought, cracking, county court bailiffs would go and get him. I provided them with all these photos from Facebook of all the vehicles that he had for sale and where he was commenting on other vehicles to show that he had assets. I also gave him the addresses he'd given me before, and when he's selling some of the goods, he had addresses on there, so I gave him those addresses as well. you know, so that it was easy to track him down and catch up with him. So I waited a couple of weeks, and you know, I believe this, guys. The county court bailiffs went to the address given. The lady said that he didn't live there, and they left it at that. I got a message back going, well, you know, yeah, he's not there. We couldn't find any evidence of him living there. There's nothing more we can do. So I was properly peed off at this point. So luckily, I've been watching TV and seen those programs with the calling the sheriffs, and I saw how persistent those guys were, probably because they're on commission, I imagine. So I put an application in. So with the county court, you put in your county court, and guys, you need to do this if you get in trouble with people not paying like they should or doing you over. Just go straight court, it's easier. I know a lot of people go, right, I go down and I batter him and I get the money out of him, blah, blah. But if, at the end of the day, if they haven't got the money, you can't go in their house and physically take goods. If you can, you'll end up in court yourself and you'll end up paying them. If you batter them, you'll end up in court and you'll end up paying them. The bailiffs can go in and actually take their stuff. They can put stuff against their wages. They're the people that can actually get the money out of people. So with the county court, you can take it to court, and then you get the county bailiffs, which I found to be absolutely useless. But you can then escalate it to High Court, and if you escalate it to High Court, you can get the full-blown bailiffs in there, and the ones you see on TV. So that's what I did. I escalated it up to that level. I still had no communication with this guy in between. He thinks he's got away with it scot-free because they've turned up and he's said he doesn't live there. So I escalated it to these guys, and this is where it got funny. So they get the approval, they get the county court judgment. So again, in between this, I've been carrying on gathering information from Facebook, and I've got all these posts everywhere of him selling cars. He's still on the MGB page, asking people about cars. So I messaged the people on the MGB page and say, look, this guy's ripped me off for this amount of money, he's not delivered the car. You need to shut him down from being on the page. They asked to see a bit of evidence, I showed them the evidence, and to be fair, they shut him down from the page. That's the only point he got in contact with me, is to kick off that I got him binned off the page. He said, I was going to give you your money, but now you've done that, I'm not going to do anything for you. The old classic, absolutely brilliant. Total bullshit, of course. If he wanted to pay me money, he had my bank details, he could have transferred it straight back to me. Or he could have delivered the car, if he actually ever had the car. This is what I never, to this day, don't know, is if he actually had the car or not. Whether he took a picture of an MGB in a car park and intended on trying to buy it off someone, and that fell through, and he'd already spent my cash, I don't know what happened with it. But anyway, we escalated it to the High Court. So I'm thinking, cracking, there's a chance to get my money, and I provide him with all this evidence that he's still, the cheek of it, still selling cars, trying to get MGBs off the MGB page, selling cars privately through Facebook. And he's not particularly clever, this guy. You can trace who his missus is, his missus' address for some stuff they're selling. I provide them with all this information. So I give them the information, and they go, these guys are good, these guys are pucker. So they go and track him down after being told it wasn't this address, it wasn't that address. He went to this workshop that my guy went to pick up the cars from, where he saw the other cars getting restored. Turns out it isn't his workshop, it's somebody else's. They say that he just sells cars from there every now and then. They've got nothing to do with him. So that was sort of the end of that one. They go to the addresses. Eventually they track him down at his missus's address. This is where it's classic. I got a full report now. I tried to dig out the report so I could read it to you guys, but I can't find it now. Absolutely classic. So they knock on the door. She opens the door, leaves the door open, which allows them to access the thing, doesn't it? And goes in and finds him in her bed. At which point she says it's not him, it's her brother. She says the guy in the bed is her brother. I remember reading the report. It's absolutely classic. Obviously they called it out at this point, at which point he barged past them, ran out the building and legged it. Now I can't remember how they managed to do this, but they must have followed him or tracked him down. No, sorry. They hanged around the house and were asking the ladies lots of questions, and they're trying to sort this out. And he eventually rang and told them to meet him, and he had them meet him at I think it was a YMCA place, and it turned out he had this one little room and all his belongings in that room, and he had no money in that room at all, nothing. So yeah, we were absolutely dead end there. Couldn't get the cash out of him that way at all. But the report read properly funny how she tried to pass him off as her brother in her bed, and then he just legged it rather than face it and left his missus to deal with it. Tells you all you need to know about him. They tried to track down some of the assets I'd showed them pictures of. He said they weren't his cars, they were friends' cars, all this kind of crud. Anyway, he did actually enter into a payment plan, but only offered £50 a month on this payment plan, which I rejected because it was going to take forever. I didn't want to I didn't offer to give him a loan. I don't want to take that long to get my cash back. But in the end, they went through his assets, this, that and the other, and he had absolutely nothing. He was on benefits. I don't know what the real story behind it all is. So the payment plan was set up for £50 a month, which I thought, well, that's better than nothing. Anyway, it gets better. So he pays this for a number of months, and then he starts missing payments. And then they obviously chase him up like they're supposed to. And I get a message from him saying, I'm stopping my payments now because the company you're using were rude to me when I rang them up to try and explain why I was late with my payments. So now you're getting nothing. I'm not paying any more at all. I just don't understand the logic of these people. So he then tries to get it put aside or something. So he puts an application in to actually reduce the payments to nothing, or to like £20 a month or something. At this point, I'm getting properly narky, and when the court papers come through, I decide I'm actually going to go and attend the court in London. I'm going to travel down there. I'm going to take time off work, travel down there, and actually see this guy, meet this guy, see him in court, and try and sort this out. Now, before going to court, again, I checked Facebook, and he's still on there. Even when he's been paying these £50 to me, he's on there still trying to do MGB deals via a different name on the page. He's still got cars for sale everywhere, all over there. Loads and loads of evidence he's still trading cars. So I put all this together before I even get down to the court. I then book the hotel. I go and stay in the hotel and turn up to court the next day ready for this case. So I'll never forget, I'm sitting in the court waiting room area. And at the time, I was doing strongman quite full on at the time, only at like a local level, but I think I was weighing in about 20 stone at the time, lifting pretty damn heavy, and I was in there in my suit and my big old coat in there because it was winter, and I never forget sitting there, and I put myself in, and the chap, this little sort of tubby lad, comes in, walks up to the counter and says who he is and what case he is, and then the lady says, oh yeah, Mr. Harding's over there as well. So he turns, looks at me, the look on his face. First of all, before he turned, he went, he's here, and he turned and he looked at me, and it was just absolute classic moment. He obviously thought I wasn't going to come down, I wasn't going to turn up. So we go into court, and there's just the two of us there in this room with the judge, and I'm thinking, how's this going to go? What's the judge going to do? The judge can't do much about it at all. He's just going to call me an idiot for giving him the money. And he just starts leafing through the paperwork, and he tears this guy a new one, absolute new one. He says to him, you've stolen off this man, and now you're trying to reduce the payments. He says, Mr. Harding, have you gone to the police? And I had been to the police, and the police said it was a civil thing, nothing to do with them at all. As far as I'm concerned, it's theft. I don't understand how theft isn't a police matter. I really don't. Maybe someone can tell me down below why theft isn't a police matter. He stole the money off me. Anyway, so I said, I didn't want to hear anything about it. So this guy sells him this story of how the judge hasn't got any money, he can't afford to pay what he's paying at the moment already, and so the judge goes, well, hold on, Mr. Harding's provided this with his paperwork here, and what's this advert, and what's that advert, and the other advert. This guy's face drops completely. Oh, they're my friend's cars. He says, don't talk utter rubbish. Judge tears him a new one completely. So he says, not only am I going to reject your reduction in the payments, he said, Mr. Harding, how much did it cost you to be down here today? I want your fuel, I want your hotel, and you're giving up time from work. Yeah, so what's your daily wage and work? So we add it all up, and all of this, it ends up adding like another 500 quid to the bill. And the guy leaves the room, and he's a little bit in front of me. And this is at one point where I felt like I actually could have lamped in one. I know it's a cheesy thing to say, but despite all of that, he turns around and goes, well, that was a waste of time, wasn't it? He says, you're not going to get your money anyway. And the moral of the story here is here, and a lot of you are going to say this, and you're going to say, James, this is the way it works, and I've since found this out, is that a lot of people that are dodgy fraudsters will actually do things like to build your confidence, and then they'll do you on the third time. As a general rule, they'll do you once they know they've got comfortable with you, and you know, you feel comfortable with them. They'll do you on the third time. They'll do a couple of decent deals with you, and then the third time they'll stiff you. Now, I don't know for sure that's what happened here, or whether he got ahead of himself. He was trying to buy up MGBs to sell to me, and one deal fell through, but he'd already spent the money. I'm not sure how that worked at all. But anyway, I'm still getting the payments from it. But I will say to you, the whole process is a lot simpler than you think it is. So if you have been stiffed by somebody, don't take it lying down. Do get on and do your small claims. It'll be more effective than you can physically do turning up to batter someone or try and take stuff away from them, because you'll end up getting yourself more issue. These guys have got way more power than you and I have. So if you do get in a situation like that, do get in there. But yeah, so basically I've ended up giving someone, I think with all the fees on top and everything, it ended up well over £4,000, and I've ended up giving a complete stranger a loan that they're paying back at £50 a month. So that's got to be the worst deal I've done anyway. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope that was of interest to you, and hopefully it helps a few people of you in case you find yourself in a similar situation where someone's owing money and they're not paying up. Anyway, catch you again soon. Thanks a lot. And of course, big thanks to Valencia again for the chair. Like I say, I'll put a link down below. But yeah, definitely treat yourself to one of these, because they're absolutely lovely.